I'm Charlie Von Avis, Product Manager for onX Backcountry, and today we're talking about the Avalanche Terrain Exposure Scale and making better terrain maps for backcountry skiers. ATES stands for the Avalanche Terrain Exposure Scale, which is a terrain classification developed in Canada in 2007. This winter, we're excited to launch the ATES and run out and release area layers, and they'll be available in many parts of Colorado, in particular Crested Butte, Silverton, parts of the Front Range, and Rocky Mountain National Park. We will also have the layers available in the Wasatch and the Gallatin National Forest Avalanche Center coverage area in southwest Montana. We'll be adding more zones throughout the season, and we're excited to expand this effort to different areas. Historically, we've had tools like slope angle maps and contour maps to judge terrain before we get out there in the field, but the Avalanche Terrain Exposure Scale allows us to quantify certain aspects of the terrain, more than just slope angle, that might lead to an increased avalanche hazard. ATES can benefit backcountry skiers because it provides a common language and a clear visualization for terrain decisions. The other benefit of ATES is that it identifies avalanche terrain. So snowshoers or other recreators that may want nothing to do with avalanche terrain can use these maps to know when they're stepping into potential runout areas or avalanche terrain at all. Historically, ATES maps were created manually. In Canada, Parks Canada use them extensively to manually draw and work with avalanche experts, avalanche terrain maps, kind of on a basin level scale. The reason that we don't have ATES maps in the United States is it's hard. It takes experts and a lot of time and money to create these maps over large areas. Our solution for creating ATES maps in the United States is to use a model called autoATES. AutoATES is a statistical model that uses inputs like slope angle and forest density to produce an estimation of where avalanches might release, simulate their runouts, and then ultimately use that information to classify terrain by the ATES scale. So AutoATES produces three main outputs: potential release area model, a avalanche runout layer, as well as the Avalanche Terrain Exposure Scale layer itself. All three of these tools can be used together to get a really clear picture of the terrain. The ATES layer is really powerful because you can get a high-level idea of whether terrain is simple or whether it's challenging or complex, but sometimes you want to look under the hood and understand, like, why does it have that rating. We've been working with local avalanche centers in Montana, Utah, Colorado, Crested Butte, and around the country to help localize these autoATES models that we're generating. Lots of back and forth has happened with avalanche centers and forecasters to tune the parameters of the model per different snow climates and different terrain characteristics in different geographies. How not to use ATES is to try to use it to thread the needle. Just because with one foot you're in challenging terrain and with the other you're in simple terrain doesn't mean you can't take that literally. So using the models as guides in your planning and getting a better idea while you're sitting at home planning at the dinner table is great, but when you're out there in the field, you have to make sure that you're checking the terrain, evaluating, discussing with your partners, and not trying to thread the needle based solely off of the map data. Overall, we're really excited that this work on avalanche terrain maps is going to move the ball forward and advance our understanding of how to map avalanche terrain and create a better product for backcountry skiers and recreationalists alike. This is the first step in better understanding and getting better coverage of avalanche terrain maps in the United States.